Hi, this is Mike from mysolarhome.us. Our latest video is on the best solar power banks available in the US today. Please click on the logo at the bottom right of your screen to subscribe to my channel. We have lots more new videos coming up. We're going to be looking at 10 top selling solar power banks, and we start with the specs for each of them. We also show a comparison chart for all of them together, and you see a small glimpse of that right now. But all the phones in the top 10 that we've taken here, these all enjoy enormously good reviews, excellent customer feedback, and lots of people have bought these and they've enjoyed these products. We're starting out now with the FEJO 10,000. This is a smartphone sized solar power bank. As you can see, it's got two bright LED lights and it's got wireless Qi charging. The solar charging solar power banks is pretty slow because the solar panels are small, so it should only be used as a backup. Some of them have slightly larger panels, so you'll have slightly faster charging, but the main charging is always USB or USB-C. So the FEJO has both the micro USB as well as the Type C USB charging, and in both these options it takes about 6 to 7 hours to charge the FEJO 10,000. Remember, the charger is not included. In terms of outputs, it's got a Type C output and one USB output, so you can charge two devices at the same time. There's a battery stat indicator on top. Those are a bunch of lights on top. There's a hanger for your backpack. The wireless charging indicator is on the back side, including the power button, and that flat area is the Qi charging area, and of course the dual LED flashlights that we saw earlier. Now, in terms of the outputs, you have the Type C USB output and the regular fast charging USB output there. So two devices you can charge at the same time, and potentially you could charge a wireless device together too. In terms of how much this can power, it can charge an iPhone X about 2.3 times, an iPhone 8 between 3 to 4 times, an iPad Air 2 about 4 times, the Samsung Galaxy S8 about 4 times, and the Galaxy S6 about 4 times. The FEJO 10,000 retails for about $25. So now let's go on to the next model in our selection, which is the Blaver 10,000. This is very similar in look to the FEJO that we just looked at. Again, two bright LEDs, the solar panel, and it has an additional a small mini compass, which is useful. You can hang it nicely on your backpack. The compass is small, but it's reasonably accurate. In terms of charging outputs, they are identical. You have outputs for charging an iPhone 8, and it can charge it for about 3.5 times, an iPhone X about 2.3 times, an iPad mini about 1.2 times, the Samsung S8 about 1.8 times, and the Samsung S6 about 2.5 times. The Blaver 10,000 has got one USB output and it's got wireless charging, so that's a little bit limited compared to the JoJo 10,000. The Blaver 10,000 retails for about $26. The next gadget 20,000 is similar size to Blaver and the FEJO, but it's double in terms of stored power, 20,000 milliampere hours. It's got a slightly larger solar panel, 1.5 watts, but it doesn't make too much of a difference. You still use this for emergency charging. It's got micro USB inputs and it's got two USB outputs. The USB-C port acts as an input and acts as an output too as required. So it gives you fast charging by using a wall-based charger, which is not a part of the kit. Through wireless charging, you can charge the X series of the iPhones, the 8, the 8 Pluses, the Samsung S10s and the S10s, 9 and the 9 Plus, as well as the Note 9 and the Note 8. In terms of the number of charges, it does about 4 charges for the X series. The 8 Plus, it'll charge about 4 to 5 times. The iPad Air 2 will charge about 2 times. The S8 about 3 times. And the S6 about 4 times. And the next gadget 20,000 retails for $38. Next on our list is the IE 20,000. Again, same as the next gadget which we looked at earlier. A big difference is this guy has got 3 solar panels. It's 3.6 watts compared to 1.2 watts for most of the other phones which have one single panel, so that will reduce your solar charging time significantly, but again, not fast enough to use it as your primary charging mode. So better to charge through the wall using USB charging, which is standard across all of these. It's got a nice hook to carry it easily on your backpack, an LED flashlight, and of course the polycrystalline solar panels that we just looked at. Solar charging or the electric charging indicators are on top. Also a wireless charging indicator. In terms of an outputs, it's got a 2.5 volt, 2.1 amp USB outputs. There is one USB 5 volt 2 amp input. That's for charging the IE 20000. Takes about 12 to 15 hours to charge it with the USB and about 18 to 24 hours if you drew through solar charging. So in total, this guy has got two USB charging outputs, and of course it's got wireless charging, the Qi charging. So technically you can do three devices simultaneously, but at 20,000 milliampere hours, you're not really realistically be going to do more than two at a time. It can again charge just like the next gadget, an iPhone X about 4 times, the iPhone 8 also about 4 times, maybe 5 times, the iPad Air 2 twice, the Samsung S8 3 times, the Samsung S6 about 4 times. This one retails for 43 bucks, and that's essentially you're paying a little premium for those additional solar panels. The next one in our list is the Geotech 25000. This is bigger than the earlier ones. Power 25,000 milliampere hours compared to 20,000 and the 10,000 ones that we looked at earlier. It's got a green LED indicator to show solar input. The blue LED shows you the battery status. It's got pilot lamps, and it's got a USB-C charging port, which is again a plus point. USB-C is relatively new, and not all the top 10 solar phone banks we've looked at have USB-C charging. It's got three USB outputs, again 5 volts 2.1 amp, basically fast charging. 36 LED lights, which gives it the light department a big plus, and of course three USB outputs, which is again great. 25,000 milliampere hours is a decent amount of power, and those three USB outputs are worth your while. You can charge three devices at the same time. This guy retails for about $46. Next on our list is the Lucky 25,000. Again, going from smaller to larger. This one's larger than the earlier ones, but the same size as the Geotech. It's got a 5-watt solar panel, 12 to 15 hours to charge the Lucky 25,000. You would prefer to charge it using the inbuilt USB inputs. It's got two USB outputs, again at 2.1 amp each. It's pretty easy to carry this around. Huge number of reviews on Amazon, doing really well. Retails for about 47 bucks. And next on our list is the Lair 25,000 solar phone bank, and this one's got a nice battery indicator, but a single panel. You can charge a plethora of communication devices with the Lair 25,000. There's a micro USB or USB-C charging. Both are available on this phone, and with the USB-C charging, you can get about 12 to 15 hours to charge this unit. It's because it's got that additional capacity of 25,000 milliampere hours. Got three LED lights which are bright. There is a 2.4 amp output, three of them USB outputs, so which is better than the others that we've seen so far, because all of them max out at about 2.1 amps. So this one's three USB outputs, 2.4 amps each, which is more than the traditional 2.1 amps that the other solar phone banks output. In terms of how many times it can charge a device, an iPhone X series for about 5 to 6 times, an iPad Pro 2 to 3 times, and you could do an iPhone 8 for about 5 to 6 times as well. This one retails for about $36. The next one is the AdTop 25,000. Again, this one's got multiple solar panels, in fact 4. That's about 5 watts of output. Compared to the other banks, this is definitely a plus. The size of this one is small, weight of 1.18 pounds, which is very similar to the others. Most of the others are either 1 pound or a little lower than that. So far, all the ones we've seen, they all have the form factor of a large smartphone. It's got dual USB outputs. It charges two devices at the same time, and the output is at 2.1 amp, so reasonably fast charging. And in terms of how much it can charge devices, very similar to the Lair that we looked at, or the Lucky. an iPhone 8, it'll charge for about 5 to 6 times, an iPad Pro 2 to 3 times, or an iPhone X series 5 to 6 times. So power output, regardless of the brand, they pretty much have the same characteristics in terms of how many devices and how much they can charge. Now we've come to the final two in our selection, and these are different from the earlier solar phone banks that we were looking at, because these ones are not the traditional smartphone based look. These are much bigger. The Kalisa KP041, which is bigger both in size and in weight, 11 pounds. It comes with a nice carry case. It's got inbuilt panels, 40 watts of them in fact. So this is significantly bigger. You can charge much bigger devices with this. A mini fridge, a drone, for example, it can easily be charged using the KP041. Compared to the other ones, you charge this with an AC adapter, which comes as a part of the kit. None of the other ones have an adapter as a part of the kit. You're supposed to use your own charger. You can also charge this with solar panels. The battery in the KP041 is much bigger than the other ones. You can charge an iPhone 8 for about 60 times. Compare that to the solar phone banks we were looking at earlier, which all look like large smartphones. The max that they could charge an iPhone 8 was 5 to 6 times, whereas this one can do it for 60 times. The Kalisa KP041 retails for about $532. Finally, we have the Naja Phoenix. Again, this is a briefcase size solar phone bank. It's got an inbuilt panel, 20-watt panel. It's heavy, 16 pounds compared to the other guys, but very, very portable. You've got lots more power. You can easily power up a drone or even a laptop. None of the earlier solar phone banks can do laptops. It's got an AC output, which is very, very different from everybody else. None of them have an AC output. This guy's got an AC output. It's also got a cigarette lighter charger output, 2 DC 12-watt outputs, and 4 USB outputs. This retails for about $399, and it can charge an iPhone 8 for about 40 times. So the final two in our selection of solar phone banks are much bigger, but they are suited for camping trips. Let's look at the comparison chart. As you can see, I put all of them in this chart for you, starting with the FEJO 10,000 and ending with the Naja Phoenix. The first row shows the ability to charge wirelessly. The FEJO 10,000, the Lair 10,000, the next gadget 20,000, the IE 20,000, they all have wireless charging. After that, all the bigger solar phone banks, they do not have wireless charging. In terms of outputs, which is what you use to charge other devices for using the solar phone bank, the FEJO 10,000 has two output ports. One is a USB-C and one's a USB. The Lair has got just one USB. The next gadget has got two USBs and one USB-C, which is great. USB-Cs are faster charging than USBs. The IE has got two USBs. The GearTech has got three. The more expensive Kalisa KP400, 4 USBs, for example, and 2 DC 12 volts for the Kalisa KP400. The Naja Phoenix even has an AC and cigarette charger output in addition to 4 USB ports. All of these guys, except for the KP400 and the Naja, they do not come with a built-in charger. They come with a built-in cable, and you have to plug them to standard chargers, which you use maybe for your smartphone. Charging times vary from between 6 to 7 hours to 12 to 15 hours, depending on the capacity of the solar phone bank. So the 25,000 milliampere hour solar phone banks take 12 to 15 hours to charge. The smaller 10,000 ones take about 6 to 7 hours. In terms of what you can charge with these, as you can see, it goes from about 2 to 3 charges for the smallest ones to 5 to 6 charges for the larger solar phone banks, and the bigger two, they can do much more, 60 and 40 respectively. The panels are all pretty standard except for the ones which have multiple panels. So things like the IE that has got a 3.6 watt panel, or the HiLucky 25, which has got a 5 watt panel because they've got multiple panels. Same story with the AdTop 25,000, multiple panels, very small ones. The bigger two have got bigger size panels and more output, 40 watts and 20 watts. In terms of prices, the cell phone sized solar phone banks are all in the sub 40 range, close to $40, between 25 to $40. The two bigger ones are at $532 and $399. Now, all of these are available on Amazon, and if you look at the description below, I have links to all of these. I hope you liked my video on solar phone chargers. Please do click on the logo on the bottom right of this to subscribe to my channel. I'll have new videos out for you very soon. Thank you so much.